A very good day to Madam Malia. Today, me and my partner, Bon Sihui, will present our report on defamation case. So for the introduction, so what is defamation? So defamation is the action of damaging the reputation of a person or a group by saying or writing statements that are not true about them. And there are two types of defamations, which are libel and slander. So libel is a false claim published through text, cartoons, or pictures that defames the reputation of a person, and it's usually you can see it being published through social media. And slander comes in spoken forms and it is usually false statements. Now, so we decided to do deeper research on these two cases, which are Dr. Sri Ahmad Ibrahim versus one Muhammad Azri Wadebris, and also Nur Azma Azami versus Sahida Muhammad Rafiq. And for these two cases, we'll be talking about the plaintiff defendant, the summary of the case, the verdict of the case, and also suggestion if the case can be settled outside of court. Case 1. Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim versus one Muhammad Azri Wanderis. So the plaintiff is Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, the person who sued the defendant, and the defendant is one Muhammad Azri Wanderis. So the summary of the case is like this. So on 16, 17, 19, and 20 March 2013, a website named Papagomo published several articles that defamed the plaintiff, with these three articles showing that videos of him being a homosexual. The defendant published his statements saying that the plaintiff is morally reprehensible individual who is unfit to hold public office. He is unqualified to be a political leader nor unfit to be a prime minister. So on March 19, 2013, the plaintiff ordered the defendant to withdraw these articles, to apologize and pay compensation for the damages that the plaintiff had faced through his lawyer, Mr. Edwin Lim, Suren, and so. However, the defendant did not comply. The defendant himself claimed that he was not the owner of the article and had never published those articles. He denied that he had responded to the letter of demand, as the demand included, among other things, a 48 hours apology, 100 million in damages, and more. And according to evidence that the plaintiff gave, Papagomo had replied to the defendant's letter of demand, and either Papagomo or the defendant had reacted to the plaintiff's letter of demand through the Papagomo blog, because the letter was sent to the defendant, and when Papagomo had react or respond to it, it says that the defendant is directly or indirectly related to this blogger. Defendant himself failed to bring any witnesses or documentary evidence to prove his defense, and the defendant was able to. Thus, the verdict of the case. So on 28 February 2014, the Kuala Lumpur High Court ruled that the defendant is the blogger known as Papagomo, and 850,000 in total damages was awarded to plaintiff. 800,000 for damages and 50,000 in cost for when they found the defendant responsible for defaming Anwar Ibrahim. And in year 2015, the Court of Appeal confirmed the judgment, ordering that the defendant to pay the plaintiff additional 10,000 in expenses. However, he failed again at the federal court in his appeal to avoid paying the amount of damages to Anwar over the defamatory online post. So if this case can be settled outside the court, I would suggest negotiation and mediation. So negotiation helps to both of the legal teams to discuss their settlements and stuff. So both can agree with terms and settlements that they want to settle, and then agree with it. While the mediation method is more towards having a neutral person to oversees the process and assists the parties in reaching an agreement. Now, I'll pass time to Sihui, as she will share the case too.
Okay, for now I will share about the case 2. So it's about Nos Asman Azemi versus Jahida Muhammad Rafi. The plaintiff will be the Nos Asman Azemi, while the defender is the Jahida Muhammad Rafi. The summary of the case will be the 200,000 case and check was given by defender to the plaintiff. However, defender was not able to contact the plaintiff and found out that the plaintiff failed to deposit the needed funds. Defender filed a police complaint against the plaintiff. Following the filing of police complaint, the defender told the reporters about it and Halian Metro published a story about it. The plaintiff filed a defamation suit against the defender. The defender had stated to the reporters that he is dishonest, a thief and a criminal, which harmed the reputation and his chance of finding new job. The High Court approved the plaintiff's claim while dismissing the defender's counterclaim. This is because the defender failed to show any logical basis for the repetition of the police report. However, the Court of Appeal reversed the High Court's decision. The Court of Appeal admitted the defender's counterclaim while rejecting the plaintiff's claim. This resulted in filing of present appeal. The question was whether the absolute privilege defense should be extended to the subsequent publishing of the contents of the police report to the public. Second, whether the Court of Appeal erred in requiring the plaintiff to prove the defense of justification. Next will be the verdict of the case. In 2015, the High Court ordered Jahida to pay damages to Ajman. Jahida have to pay 150,000 in damages and 40,000 in expenses for defaming Ajman. In 2017, the Court of Appeal permitted the actress to counterclaim. This forced Ajman to repay the 200,000 and she won her appeal. The Court of Appeal requested Ajman to substantiate the foundation of his charges. However, he has stated in his appeal that he had complained of a miscarriage of justice. However, the court concluded that Jahida had failed to defend her decision because she made her police report against Ajman to the public. Next, Ajman's lawyer Gopal Sri Ram told the court his client was unable to pay a large sum. The panel issued no judgment on expense. In the end, the court that the ruling exonerated her. Ajman was now obligated to refund the 200,000 with interest dating back to 2013 when Jahida filed the counterclaim. So my suggestion will be the face-to-face negotiation, conciliation, and offer apology. First will be the face-to-face negotiation. It is prudent to have an attorney prepare it to ensure no loopholes are left. Next will be the conciliation. The parties attempt to resolve their differences amicably with the aid of the conciliator who serves as a neutral third party. So I would suggest that they have a settlement that can be done through a conciliatory and satisfactory agreement between both parties. Last but not least is the offer apology. The defendant should acknowledge her wrongdoings and she resolves the misunderstanding towards the plaintiff. So, next is conclusion. As a responsible citizen, we should be careful with what we say, especially in public. Anything we publish or share statements, we should prove that they are truthful and honest, and need to have proof by other sources. Other than that, we should be responsible with our actions. As a readers or listeners, we should listen to both sides and keep up to date with the situation. No money can compensate for the damage done to a person's image. Hence, we need to be careful with what we say to avoid confusion and untrue statements. The effect of defamatory statements towards a person is great, as not only it will hurt them and their family, but also their reputation, image, and others. So we must be better and be careful with what we say to prevent this kind of matter from happening. So thank you.